Welcome back to PDQPD. Today's topic is URL shorteners. And for those of you that don't know, a URL is, there's a long name for it, and it doesn't matter what it really means. We know it more by the phrase web address. And there are occasions where you want to take a web address and communicate that to your students where you want them to type it in. You either put it on a projector or on the board and have them type that in. In some cases, those URLs are pretty short. For example, if you want to go to CNN.com, the address is www.cnn.com. In other cases, those can be quite long, and you probably know that you can have a URL for both a website or things like a Google Doc. And I'm going to bring up a Google document right now. This highlighted address has a lot of characters in it, and if you tried to have your kids or even a room full of adults type that in, there's a very good chance that that would not get typed in accurately. Video can also have a URL, and you see here the URL for this video. And it can be kind of long too, and especially when you have the underscores, it can be a little awkward. There are tools called URL shorteners that you can use to help you with that. It takes the long URL and turns it into a shorter one that the students can then type in. There are a number of different URLs, the most popular of which are bit.ly and tinyURL, but the one I'm going to show you today and the one I like the most is the Google URL shortener. And I like it more than the others for a couple reasons, but first let me show you how to get to that. And I'm going to show you the URL here. And this one's a pretty short one. You can just type in goo.gl, and that will take you to the Google URL shortener. Since it's Google, it interfaces with your other Google accounts. So you can simply click the sign in here, and it recognizes your account since you're already on Google. That's really nice because you don't have to keep entering a username and password each time. It's not another set of information to remember. So this is why I like the Google URL. This is what the URL shortener page looks like. Now I'm going to go back quickly to our document here, and I'm going to take this long URL and I'm going to select it and I'm going to copy it, go to my URL shortener and paste it, and you can see it's got all those characters in there, and then I'm going to select the shorten URL, and at that point over here it gives me the shortened URL. Instructions on to copy it, and then I can copy that and I could paste that into anything else that I wanted to do, present it to students, and they could type that in with pretty good certainty. Simply put, that's how a URL shortener works. Now there's another big advantage to using a URL, and you might even decide to use a URL when you paste the address into something like an email that your recipient could actually click on and go directly to, where it wouldn't matter if it was short or not. You might want to go ahead and use the shortener, because if you'll look here, this remembers, since it's Google, it remembers all the shorteners that I've used in the past. And you can see here under clicks, it tells me how many times these specific shorteners have been selected. So if you give a class full of students a shortener to, say, a document or a video, you can see how many times it's been clicked on. And then the details here give you a little bit more information, probably not something that you care much about, but it'll tell you, for example, what countries the clicks have come from, what platforms people who have clicked on it are using, what browsers those people are using, and so forth. That part's not necessarily as important to me, but in a classroom, if I were giving an assignment, I can see how many people clicked on it. It doesn't tell you how long they spent on it, but it does tell you how many times it's been clicked. So that's another reason why I prefer the Google URL shortener. And finally, the last reason why I prefer the Google URL shortener to some of the other ones is, you see here under add-ons, I have added a URL shortener add-on. And what that does is when I am in my document, I can go to my URL shortener and I can get the document link, and it builds my shortened URL right here rather than me copying it, going to another site, pasting it, getting the shortened URL. It brings that shortened URL in right here from the document. You have to add the add-on for that, but that's a very simple process and the add-on's free. That is the Google URL shortener add-on. And that's pretty much it for the URL shorteners. I hope you can find a use for this somewhere, and have a great week.